right, there we go. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. How we doing today? Hi,
Oh, okay. That
people.
I'm gonna have to get used to that delay.
Yeah, there's like a couple second delay. I don't remember exactly how long, which does make it hard to keep up with chat sometimes. If you're ever wondering, I think Sai has
Okay,
a
and I
shorter.
definitely need to mute the YouTube video because I'm now hearing you twice, and
Oh,
then
yep,
and
yep.
myself twice. There we go.
Well, hello, Calcium. Hello, Astral. Hello, Torg. How you doing? Why does the thumbnail seem like it would raise questions about the? Yeah, yeah.
We'll get into that.
You picked a very, very good name. But anyway, I am here today with the wonderful, you know him, you love him, and if you don't know him, you will. This is Flatulence Incarnate. Flatulence Incarnate is a board-certified and state licensed behavior analyst, which is a really cool area of psychology that I do not actually know that much about. So I'm very excited to learn more today.
I'll be hoping to teach you about it.
Yes. How's the audio, everybody? We doing all right? Is the balance okay? The volume? How's all that? I don't hear any complaints. Audio good? Awesome. Beautiful. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. So today, we are going to hear an awesome talk. I'm very excited because I have not seen this talk or heard this talk either. We're going to hear an awesome talk about using ABA, creating accessible ABA interventions for children with visual impairments, which sounds like a really, really important thing and really cool and sounds very difficult to do. It sounds like it requires a lot of creativity, which is so cool.
Alrighty, let's see here. So I'll go ahead and share my PowerPoint.
All right, and let me know when you want. So I have a video, so let me know when you want me to show the video.
Yeah, we'll probably do the video when I get to the because it's for the cane tapping. So we'll get when we get to that part of the presentation.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, so I have to wait like another 10 seconds after I've shared it on there for it to show up on the YouTubes.
Yep.
Oh wow, is it just not showing up at all?
Nope. I promise everybody, we did test this beforehand. But this is the inevitable scuff. It happens to the best of us, and it happens always. If it doesn't happen, there's probably something wrong.
I mean, we can. I do not think I can explain this stuff through the magic of interpretive dance, unfortunately.
I believe in you.
Let's see. Let's see if I try turn it off and turn it back on again.
All right. Yeah. Don't worry. We'll get the PowerPoint up. I believe in our abilities. Perhaps foolishly, but I have blind faith in our ability to make this work. I say us. I can't really do it.
I mean,
I'll provide moral support.
Ooh, okay. So maybe if I try, let me make sure because I got to give that delay. Nope. So we're gonna try. Will it work better if I share dish?
You are sharing your stream. There we go.
Oh, okay, good. Because I can't see it yet because it's still delayed on the Although wait, I guess if I'm sharing my screen, it's now sharing the YouTube video instead of the PowerPoint.
Oh no, you're sharing the PowerPoint.
Okay, hooray!
Yeah,
I can't see it
on
your YouTube yet, but
it should be up now.
So this is adapting ABA procedures to the visually impaired. And I am Flatulence Incarnate, BS, BA, MA, MA, BCBA, LBA. That's a lot of alphabet soup, but it just means that I have a lot. I did a lot of school. I'm educated. So this presentation was originally given to other behavior analysts at the Gulf Coast Behavior Analyst Conference. So I'm going to touch base on some general stuff just because you're not going to know the jargon, and we have way too much jargon in our business. So I'll be talking a couple times about respondent / classical / Pavlovian conditioning. And that is the process by which a neutral stimulus gains properties of a stimulus with which it is repeatedly paired. So you can think about it as you're rubbing two things together and they rub off on each other, is kind of the simplified explanation of that. And then operant conditioning is the use of reinforcement and punishment to alter the future probability of behavior. I don't generally use any punishment, but that's technically included in the operant conditioning definition, so I did want to touch on that. And then lastly, B.F. Skinner's made up words, because B.F. Skinner is the founder of behavior analysis, and he loved making up stuff for himself. So I wrote this using some of his jargon, and you guys might not know that. You really shouldn't know it. I don't know why we use most of these, because they're just words he made up, and they mean mostly the same things as regular English words. Amend is basically any sort of request or asking for something. Tacting is labeling something, like saying the properties of an object. And an intraverbal is a verbal response that's indicated solely by another person's verbal response. So like answering a question like, what's your name? What does a cow say? There's not a cow physically present, so it's under the control of the verbalizations. So, and I guess I should also touch on what behavior analysis is in the first place. It is the science and an application of science with behavior to bring about socially significant change. And this is mostly the goal is improving the quality of life of the people that we're working with, at least with those that are working. The most common is with autism therapy. So the goal is for these children with autism to be able to communicate their wants and needs, function, be able to play and socialize, eventually grow up, find jobs, and live ideally happy and relatively independent lives. There's other areas of behavior analysis like the hero rats, which are rats that are trained to detect landmines, but that's interesting but very different from what I'm talking about here. But it's mostly about usually behavioral science for the benefit of people. All right, so then we're going to talk about the visually impaired kids specifically here. So my first patient as a behavior analyst was a typical early intensive intervention where we're working on we're teaching him to talk, he's answering questions. He liked asking and answering those questions as Batman. Could be like, how old are you, Batman? I'm 3, Batman. So very, very typical stuff of what we see. And then my second patient as a behavior analyst was blind. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do? So like conventional ethics in the field is like, if you don't have the expertise for it, you should refer out. Was like I was working in an area where there were no other providers. So I can't do that. So I have to figure it out. And I went over the research and I started figuring out, well, how does being blind make things different? And well, it's really just, you can't see. But that makes such a big difference that colors almost everything. So we have to make lots of modifications to procedures in order to make that work. So that when my third patient also turned out to be blind, I looked at some comorbidity statistics and got very confused, but then otherwise I was set to go. Incidentally, blindness and autism are not actually comorbid, and that is weirdly improbable that I had 2 patients that were blind and had autism. There should only be about, this is how highly specific applied research is that there are probably only about 200 people in the United States that this stuff would apply to. So very, very niche need, but you know what? I think it's still helping people. So firstly, a lot of things that we do in teaching kids require sight. Even like knowing what he's paying attention to is going to be difficult because they're not necessarily orienting their body towards you or towards what you're thinking. So we learn to figure out attention by reading body language. And then I learned to read the kid's body language, but I could never figure out how to teach that to anybody else. So instead, once we knew they could do some things and respond to some things, that is what we would have the technicians, the direct therapists do in order to ascertain that the child was paying attention appropriately. So basically, we know he knows to do this when we tell him to clap his hands. If he didn't do that when you asked him to, he's probably not paying attention to you. Um, but also just so look, we're working with kids here. So a lot of times we want to make the rooms bright and colorful, have interesting things. There's toys all over the place. We want there to be like fun things because we don't want to be the work people. Because we are the work people, you're going to have a bad time with getting the kids to want to do stuff for you and with you and learn things. And most of the stuff that we typically did for that was just meaningless to a blind kid. So we played music. In particular, he liked the song the first kid liked Weemawe by the Tokens, in the jungle of my jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. That song, he particularly liked that, so we would play that a lot. He also liked Taylor Swift a fair bit. Um, they even liked my singing, which suggests maybe not the best taste, but they were able to do it. So then, moving on. So initially, my blind patient was unable to communicate his wants and needs at all. And if you will notice, the thumbnail is actually our solution to this. So there's a protocol called the Picture Exchange Communication System, where you teach a child to basically hand you picture cards to indicate what they want. And it's very useful for children that are unable to communicate vocally, because it lets them basically take pictures out of a book to get their wants and needs met. Nowadays, speech devices on tablets, AAC devices like Proloquo or Speak for Yourself are more popular. Those are difficult for a blind child as well because the tactile tablets for the visually impaired are kind of expensive. They're really cool though, because basically they respond to electricity to bubble up and you can feel the tablet. But they are expensive, so there's often not funding for that. So we taught him to ask for things by first we figured out what he wanted by giving him things and seeing what he actually used and consumed. And then you work your way to where he is picking the cards off of a board. We did have a problem at first because when we started handing the icon and then he's supposed to hand it back, he would just chuck them across the room, which, makes sense. If you have no idea what the thing is, you're not going to be really interested in it. Also, normally PEX uses a book so that they could flip through and do that. That didn't seem functional for a blind child because we would have him scan the board. So, and the thumbnail for today was the board, and I have a picture up here as well. And basically, we taught him to identify each of these shapes and paired them, basically respondently or classically conditioned them with the preferred item, and then got him to basically scan the board with his hand. He would fill all the shapes, and then he would pick out what he wanted. Now, we had to leave the blank space in the middle because we found out that being blind is really hard. So he would often satisfy, so this is to say that he would just pick whatever was closest to his hand or whatever was easiest rather than what he wanted. So we tried to make it to where it was just as easy to find any of the icons. And yeah, ultimately, he would do that. He would most often ask for Sour Punch straws or wafers, but he generally, to at least some degree, would ask for just about everything on the board. And eventually he transitioned from this to asking for things vocally. He got better at communicating verbally after a while. I don't really touch on that much here because that actually didn't change much for being blind. Teaching him to talk was about the same as what we usually do, which is just lots and lots of practice. And so the PEX went through a lot of phases with the icons, but he learned to communicate effectively using these tiles in about 2.5 months. So at that point, he was able to scan the board, pick out what he wanted. In this graph, there's a lot of targets. So PEX uses like a fading procedure where there's gradually, you're moving towards the final goal of being able to scan the array of items and then pick what you want. So there were, I think, 8 phases in the version we used. So that's why he did not learn to identify 75 different things. He simply learned to identify 9 things across a lot of different phases. Uh, Next up, what I have is Braille literacy. So, Braille, if you're not familiar with it, is the main writing system for the blind, and it involves like bumps that are shaped in particular ways to represent letters. Now, you need that more for when you're blind than even you need literacy there, because it's used for a lot of things because you can't look at things. So, one of the things that many individuals who are blind do is touch the things to figure out what they are. Like a lot of blind people will have like labels in their wallets or whatnot. To find the restroom, they even have to scan it and touch the door to make sure that they've got it. Despite this, only about 10% of blind adults can read Braille, and only 10% of blind children are receiving instruction in Braille. This is as of when I originally did this presentation, so it's possible this has changed. I was actually really surprised about this when I created this presentation, because it's so important, and one, it kind of makes it seem really cool that we managed to do this with a kid who was disabled when apparently 90% of even like neurotypical visually impaired children are not learning appropriately. And then this is what we created with the Braille. It's pretty straightforward procedurally. So we started out with the really big crafted targets. The idea is that the big letters are easier for him to scan and feel the differences. And then we worked our way down until we got to actual Braille made with this here Braille label maker. And he eventually learned all the letters. Let's see. So yeah, you see we faded the size. Oh, and then we also did some things to make the letters more preferred. Basically, we just have him scan the letter, and then we would give him candy or whatever he wanted at the time. Usually it would be the Sour Punch straws. Basically, we're trying to increase how preferred the act of scanning was, as well as maybe make the letters somewhat of a reinforcer in themselves, so he'll actively engage with them. So we did 3 Braille letters attached to a Velcro board. Now, I'll have a picture of that in a couple slides. We prompted him to scan them, then we asked him to hand us the letter. Eventually, we switched from there to texting and labeling them. This involved errorless learning trials, which is basically where we are hand over handing him, and then we gradually fade out the prompts until he is able to do it independently. That's the main thing there. As you can see, here's a picture of us at the board. Although this is not, they needed to fix this because like this picture is it not being arranged properly, because it's very important that the Braille be lined up correctly, and that middle Braille card is not lined up correctly. But yeah, so that is what that phase of the procedure looked like, and it took about 9 months to teach him through all the phases of the Braille. But still, I think that was good, given he'd had 7 years of regular Braille instruction and had not made any progress. So, although I don't necessarily know if that's on Braille instruction or just the fact that he wasn't getting enough of it. So to give you an idea, we probably worked with him about 8 to 12 hours a week on Braille, whereas the Braille instructor was only working with him about 30 minutes a week. So it might not be that our way was better. It may just be that we did so much more time with it that it worked better. One thing to note is it's hard, so you get things where you're trying to cheat and not do it as well. So like he would often go to wherever the last correct answer was, or just pick the one closest to his hand. Because if guessing gets him in contact with the Sour Punch straws without effort, as most often the straws, he got to choose what he wanted, but he would just pick whatever was closest. So we had to make sure we did some things with like weighting where we went with things in order to offset that. And eventually we were able to, or we would just pick it to where the spot closest to his hand was never correct until he finally picked the correct answer in another spot. But there wasn't really too much problems there. He also had an issue where he would he was avoiding it because he had been engaging in hand mouthing. So obviously, if you've got sores on your hand from that, you're not wanting to touch Braille. So we had to do an intervention called a response interrupt redirection to get him to stop hand mouthing. And that's just getting him to do other things with his hands instead of sticking them in his mouth. All right. And then next we also taught appropriate cane usage. So they need to be able to tap within 2.5 inches of shoulder width, because too wide and they might walk into something before the cane makes the loop back. Too narrow, and you may not hit something that is in your walkway. To do this, attach a pair of glockenspiels to each other at the appropriate width, and we taught him through audio feedback, and I'll have a video that we'll do right after this to show you what it looked like. And then following this, I made a cane track out of colored tape, and we walked him through it, and he learned to appropriately use his cane. I guess we'll go ahead and do the special thanks before we do the video, because that's all that's left on my PowerPoint, in case the PowerPoint goes away and never comes back again, given the difficulties we had with getting it in the first place. So a big thank you to everyone who built the material for the Braille and PEC. Without you, I'd probably have a dowel glued to my head right now. And finally, thank you to all my staff and colleagues that helped me come up with ideas and then implement those ideas. And then here we have my bibliography. Not a lot of research for blind kids with autism. These 3 studies, I believe there are now like 2 more. I'm lazy and have never actually published, and probably should publish some of this, but I just give presentations at conferences. Haven't really gotten around to it. Probably should. All right, so I will stop that, and then you can show the video.
Right. Okie dokie, video time. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do this briefly.
To answer Jester's question, so normally you would make the room colorful. But that wouldn't happen for the blind kids, so we needed an alternative to color. Sorry, I was not seeing any of the questions while doing my PowerPoint, but
it's fair. I know
the main thing out there is the music was the alternative to the conventional colored room.
That's a fun creative way. All right, I'm going to, just so there's not double audio, I'm going to mute you very briefly while I play the video, if that's okay.
That's fine.
All right.
Hello, folks. So this is a demonstration of using glockenspiels to teach blind children to use their canes properly. So when using your cane, you have to be within roughly 2.5 inches of shoulder width when tapping back and forth using this tap method. There are other tap methods, but for this purpose, we're doing the side-to-side tap. The reason for that is that if you go too far, your loops take too long and you may miss things. Similarly, if you go too small, you can miss things that are in your walking path. So that is why that margin of error is good. So this is calibrated to my shoulder width. So this is just for informational purposes. I haven't actually taped it, but if I were actually using it for instruction, I would have it. So listen. These are not as good as the ones I had before, but you see, the more accurately I tap it towards the middle point, the better the sound. Whereas if I'm tapping off, it doesn't. So that audio feedback allows for the child to correct and get better. I am extremely out of practice.
The audio was dead. Do you want me to go again? I think I had a little quiet. All right, let's give it one more shot.
It's kind of the whole point is to hear the glockenspiels.
Yeah, all right.
Hello, folks. So this is a demonstration of using glockenspiels to teach blind children to use their canes properly. So when using your cane, you have to be within roughly 2.5 inches of shoulder width when tapping back and forth using this tap method. There are other tap methods, but for this purpose, we're doing the side-to-side tap. The reason for that is that if you go too far, your loops take too long and you may miss things. Similarly, if you go too small, you can miss things that are in your walking path. So that is why that margin of error is good. So this is calibrated to my shoulder width. So this is just for informational purposes. I haven't actually taped it, but if I were actually using it for instruction, I would have it. So listen. These are not as good as the ones I had before, but you see, the more accurately I tap it towards the middle point, the better the sound. Whereas if I'm tapping off, it doesn't. So that audio feedback allows for the child to correct and get better. I am extremely out of practice at
All right, there we go. I think it was audible. That's all right. I still hear it.
I'm now realizing I left the vacuum out while while doing this demonstration. I did not have a cameraman, and I'm realizing that I went way off course with the camera while doing the tapping at the same time.
It's very difficult to hold a camera and then do something with your other hand at the same time and hold it steady. Oh, that's so cool. I had a couple of questions. I think the main one was, what did you say what PECs or PECs stood for?
What was it about the PECs?
Did you say what PECs stood for?
Picture Exchange Communication System.
Ah, okay. So that's the
So that's the conventional one. It gets labeled modified PECs because technically what it should be called is Tactile Icon Communication System, but the acronym for that would be TICS. So like we're not going to call it that. So usually just refer to it as like modified PECs.
Understandable. This is so cool, and it sounds like it is a very small population that you're working with, but also I definitely encourage you to publish this. I'm sure that people would really benefit from it all over, but I also know how rough publishing is and how horrible the process can feel.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the big difference between applied research and sort of research you're doing is that I basically I have a problem. How do I fix it?
Yeah.
Whereas you're just trying to answer a general question probably more often.
Yeah, you're doing applied, which is you're actually trying to cause changes in the world and like improve things and problem solve. And I tend to do more like basic research where I'm just trying to learn how the world works, but the things that I learn will probably never affect anybody's lives in any way whatsoever.
Hey, at least they affect your life.
They do, for better or for worse. Did anyone have any questions about the presentation? And then I wanna ask more about the methods. And feel free to like keep putting questions in as we go if anything comes up. As you can see, the stream delay makes this sort of thing hard.
Yeah. It's like about 30 seconds behind.
Is it that bad? Is it a full 30 seconds? I would have thought it would be like 6 or something, but because it's 6 seconds, we need to wait for them to get to it. Yes.
So, okay, you're asking about like they're asking about what we did to make the room interesting. So the main thing was the music. We did audio. There were some things that came up that were like problems that we didn't think about. Like after we got back from the bathroom, we noticed that he would start screaming every time. And we eventually figured out it was because someone had to go write in the bathroom log that whether he had output on the toilet. And so they weren't interacting with him at that point. So, and they were being quiet too. So he didn't know whether or not he had been left in a room alone. So we had to add to the protocol of, hey, talk to him, keep talking even while you're logging.
Oh, that's so interesting. See, I wouldn't have thought of these things. It sounds like it was like a really like iterative, like learn as you go sort of process.
Yeah, well, it's because there's not a lot of expertise. I joke, but it's probably not inaccurate that I am the second leading expert in the world in this specific, a very niche field.
I mean, that's really, really incredible. That's so cool. Like, I tend to end up in niche fields as well, and there's the pros and cons, right? Because like you can find out a lot, and there's a lot of things that you can do, but on the other hand, you have basically little to no foundation and little to no people that you can consult with. Do you get to talk with the other experts?
I have not talked to him too much.
Mm.
I did a little bit of consulting. Although oddly enough, we were at the same university for a bit. Um, although not at the time. That was when I was in undergrad, and he would have actually, it would have been probably right after I graduated. So no, he came to my undergraduate college right after I left it. Um, oh, Calcium Compadre, don't feel bad for him. He's doing very well. Last I heard, uh, that's kind of I think I've maybe mentioned it. Working with this field and then these two visually impaired kids in particular, I don't really have imposter syndrome anymore because I think about like, hey, I greatly improved these kids' quality of life. We toilet trained them. There was only one thing that ever completely stumped me, and that's teaching them to blow their noses. Could not figure out how to do that.
But it still sounds like you came up with like seeing all these solutions that you came up with. I feel like some of them feel very obvious in hindsight, but like when you're in the weeds, when you're doing them for the first time,
Yeah.
I imagine there was a lot of trial and error. Sometimes so Flatulence Incarnate is inside Aries Discord server, and we'll sometimes talk about the project you're working on, and I like the amount of creativity and MacGyvering that goes into this stuff is so it's really cool. Like, I imagine it must get frustrating.
Thing that smells like pee, by the way.
Oh no.
Like the try, I mean, the intervention we're doing right now for that is mostly working, but
That's
yeah.
good. But that does sound.
Although you talk about consulting, my favorite example of consulting is still having to write a request to a professor at NYU to get their fake poop recipe.
Oh, I
Like,
bet you
yep.
get to send and receive a lot of very unusual emails.
Yes. Yes, I had to ask them for the fake poop recipe because they did not include it in the actual research paper. And I'm like, okay, how do you make this fake poop? And I needed it for science.
Yeah, for science. Oh, what made you want to study in this niche of an area, says Rince Jester?
Oh, okay. So a couple things. One, I've always been interested in working with children because I'm weird and very childish. So a lot of times I don't get along with most adults. So I've been considering child psychology, and then I ultimately ended up in ABA because that was what was going on at my undergraduate. And although I did actually go and do clinical, if you notice my alphabet soup, I have two masters. I have a master's in clinical/counseling psychology as well as in applied behavior analysis. And a lot of that was I just went back into the field after getting my clinical master's because I couldn't figure out anything to actually do with just a clinical master's. It was either go back and get my PhD or PsyD or do something else. I hadn't generally done very well with PhD programs because I'm weird and that scares people away during grad school interviews. So weird and scrupulously honest, so I can't really hide it very well either. So I went back and got my master's in ABA and then became a board certified behavior analyst and I'm working in this field.
Oh, that's so it's funny. Paths in life are not always linear. In fact, I feel like often they're kind of windy like that.
Now, if you meant the blind kids specifically, it was just those were the kids I ended up with.
Yeah. I wonder if the parents of the first one recommended you to the parents of the second one.
I think so, actually. Yeah, almost certainly, because they did know each other.
Yeah, that's gotta be it, right? Because otherwise, like you said, the probability of that is not zero, but it's pretty darn low.
But yeah, but even the fact that they both existed in such a small area,
Yeah, yep.
uh,
It's
I
already pretty
like
wild.
so it's roughly 1 in 400,000 people. I think it worked out to would be both blind and have autism.
Yeah, that's a pretty rare thing. Oh my
Yes, and I
goodness.
had two of them in an area that only had about 25,000 people.
Oh my gosh. What are the
Like, I think that
chances?
comorbidity data is wrong.
Sometimes the world just throws us curveballs, such as the nature of
Yep.
probability. It was so cool though to see your data. Like I've recently learned about this. It's a type of data where you're working within one person, right? So traditional
Yep.
statistical analyses don't typically work. So my understanding, I read of like two different techniques for it. One is just of course like eyeballing it, right? And then the
Mhm.
other one that I've heard of is it's more like before and after as opposed to a longitudinal trend, but like counting how many points after fall beyond the most extreme point from before sort of deal.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
like we in this case though, since we were teaching him something, there's not really
Mhm.
reversibility.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can just show that
Oh.
like he's got it right now. He can
Mhm.
do this, but
Yeah. Oh,
but
reversibility. Sorry.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I don't think I've ever talked about reversibility on stream. In fact, I forgot it existed because that's again a method that I don't really use.
yeah.
Um, can you talk a little bit about reversibility? Or I think I can talk a little bit about it, but you definitely know more about it than I do.
Yeah. So the idea is that if you have an intervention, you could put it in and you could show that it controls the behavior by removing it and showing that it reverts back. You can't really do that much with skill acquisition because like that's just he knows how to do it now.
Yeah.
But it's more that if you had to do like an intervention on like a behavior and then you implement the intervention, and as long as the intervention's in effect, the behavior changes, and then you remove the intervention and it goes back to what it was before. That is to a certain extent reversion to baseline. It's reversal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't really what I was doing. It's also important to note that a lot of that's right, Ryan. It would be like an
Mm-hmm.
ABBA design potentially. Um, the is that a lot of this was kind of with regards to like presenting on it was kind of after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this is what we were doing as like, well, if nobody else does this, we should probably do some sort of presentation on it, um, as opposed to like going beforehand and doing like IRB approval. I don't even know what I would have done with IRB approval for this because I was in private practice when I published most of this, or when I presented on it.
Yeah, that would be hard. I wonder if,
Yeah,
because I think, at least my impression, and you can, because you, again, definitely have more training than me on this, is like, if it's private practice and it's specifically like a single subject design where you're working on creating an intervention for a patient, I think typically that wouldn't require IRB approval. It's more like a, if you do real bad, then you're gonna get
yeah,
hit by the board or something like that.
yeah. That's more as like covered under like my medical licensing and that. And
Yeah.
obviously, I asked for the parents' permission before I did the did the presentation and got all. I have written stuff of like they're okay that I'm presenting and talking about.
Because confidentiality is I mean, we have to get that too. Like if I want to show videos or pictures of participants or like share some of the stuff they wrote, I also have to get specific permission for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's good ethics, but it's just so cool to hear about this stuff and see that data over such a long period of time too. Like all the examples I looked at was like maybe like a week or two. So
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah, so
cool.
like most of this data was over a period of about 6 to 9 months.
That is so, so cool. That is so neat. I'm sorry, this is really neat.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
It's cool. It's cool. You never hear about this kind of thing in the area that I'm in, so I'm very, very happy to be learning it. And I'm happy
Mhm.
that you were willing to come on and tell everybody about it, because I feel like academic psychology, we just don't like. But knows what an ABB. I haven't even heard of an ABBA design before. Like I've heard of the only context I'm aware of reversal designs of at all is just I've ended up teaching about them in methods classes, but my area
Yeah,
of psych doesn't really use them.
yeah. I think ABAB might be a bit more common, but
Hmm.
ABBA is designed to hit order effects, like
Yeah.
just in case, like the fact that you're getting that the order of the interventions might have different. Yeah, that's the thing is Rye has more of a clinical background too,
Hmm.
so she's seeing more of that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, if y'all aren't
Um,
aware, Rye is also really awesome. Rye is a VTuber with, is it a background in clinical psychology and maybe some neuro? Was it? I know. Either way, super cool. You should check Rye out if you get the chance. Yeah.
mhm.
Bigger samples, you do one group as ABBA and then another comparison of BAAB. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. This is so neat. I've only ever, like, I have heard of it as a way of dealing with order effects. So, order effects are a problem with repeated measures design where you're measuring the same people over and over, where sometimes they change on their measure of the dependent variable in ways that are completely unrelated to your intervention. So, like, if I'm measuring somebody over a period of 3 hours, maybe they get bored or they get tired or they get annoyed or maybe they start getting really good at whatever they're doing. And that's completely unrelated to whatever intervention. Like if I give them like an energy drink or something like that, it's not necessarily related to that at all. It's just related to them doing this thing over time. Or like the reason that you couldn't use a reversal design when you're teaching these skills, right? Is because it's a practice thing. And that's kind of the point. They're learning the skill over time. And it's not like if you take away the lessons, the skill's just going to disappear. But the nice thing about this is it can get around order effects when you have a design where before and after matters kind of deal. Or like I've heard that at least in like the type of research you do like single subject, it's also used to you can't establish causation, but it's used to like heavily imply causation, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. So cool. A placebo, having them think about the construct you want to change can even get the yeah, exactly. Placebo effects are so much. They're such a
Yeah,
pain to deal
I
with.
know they're so high, especially in like psychotherapy.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I've heard so
I've heard some
many.
stuff suggest psychotherapy placebo effect is like 40%.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like just talking to somebody, it seems. Like, I wonder if it's even a placebo effect though, or is it just the effect of just talking to somebody?
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway.
it may that. I mean, that's still placebo because that's not the specific
That
therapeutic
is true.
intervention. I
It's
would
not the
say.
specific thing. It's just the. Mhm. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not my area, so I couldn't say. There's sleep diaries to collect data. Work as an intervention. Oh no!
Yeah.
What's that called? Reactive
Well,
measurements. Reactive measurements. That's it. When the measure that you're using changes the dependent variable. Oh,
mhm.
that's messy. I don't
Yeah.
envy that.
Oh yeah. Like just getting people. There's all sorts of like procedural drift issues. Which I guess I should talk about how ABA therapy works a little differently from a lot of psychotherapies because for the most part, I am not the one that does the direct therapy. So I supervise technicians that I train to do the therapy. So then I have to watch and make sure that they're implementing the interventions correctly.
Oh my gosh, that's so much. That's really cool, though. That's interesting. Multi-level modeling methods for within-person nested level data flagellants. Oh yeah, have you heard of those?
They, vaguely, I have heard of that, but I have never. Honestly, research is just kind of for me. It's very much happening as I'm doing stuff, so it's not something that I end up looking ahead of as much ahead of time. Although I am doing I am currently my current company wants to do. I'm looking at doing some research on teaching reciprocity skills to kids with autism. So that may be more of a planned research thing.
Oh God, sorry, Rince just stun locked me. Oh, I've done
What?
some multi-level modeling with nested conditions, but I've usually done it with like a lot more people. I don't even, if I've heard of ITT, and I don't know what those are off the top of my
Yeah, I mean, ITT was ITT Tech, like the sketchy online university that advertises all the time.
Oh, the person ends up becoming the overarching umbrella for tons more data points than that. Yeah, nested data is really cool. And this is going to distract me. I want to know more about what is ITT, research, design. What is this? Intention to treat analysis? Avoid various misleading artifacts that can arise from. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not. There goes my afternoon. What is. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry, Rince. I cannot explain those things. I don't know anything about that. Oh. Oh, is there any other questions, anything like that for now, or anything else
Yeah.
you would like to talk about? Intention to treat versus per protocol. Yeah, I've never heard of
Okay,
these
so
things.
you're kind of looking at procedural drift then, or maybe no. Okay,
Is that like? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
Ah, so because it does not require. So is it like a difference in priorities? Is intention to treat focused on outcome as opposed to method, whereas per protocol is you stick to the method even if it's not as effective? No, don't worry about it, Rinchester. I think it's good to bring these things up because they're not necessarily things that I'm aware of, and I think like who knows, maybe somebody does know about it, and I think it's always good to learn more about these sorts of things.
It's always worth it to learn more.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not always on the internet.
Sometimes you will learn things that you can never unlearn, for sure. Oh, I'll have to look into it. Sorry. But yeah, anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anything? It feels a little weird, but anything you want to plug or anything like that?
I mean, I don't really have anything to plug per se. I mean, I have all sorts of other stuff I could talk about. I mean, I could mention like the other sort of research stuff I've done, which is I taught a kid with a lot of neurological complications to use a to handle all the medical interventions he had to go under. Most notably, getting him to stop breaking his cough machine.
Oh no! But that's really cool. That is super useful stuff. Yeah, like I don't want to ask too much because I want to make sure that we aren't risking like going like I don't want to like ask you to I don't want to make you have to say patient confidentiality to me.
I mean, go ahead and ask, and I can just tell you, I'm not going to be offended.
What is
Like,
fair? What is the intervention that you've come up with that you are like the most proud of, that you think is the most creative, coolest, whatever, or like the one that was the hardest to figure out, or just whichever one stands out to you?
I think I like the glockenspiels the most, just because it also gives me an excuse. This talk, I'm pretty sure, still holds the record for most uses of the word glockenspiel in a scientific conference.
Oh, I bet that is really creative too. Like I never would have thought of that, I don't think, because that's yeah. I guess I never really thought about that. Is that right? Is that how it's normally taught? Like, do you know how?
No. No, it is not. I completely just made that up, but I mean, it's based on like principles of you want cues. So the way to teach a difficult task is to break it down and make it easier. So how you make that easier is you add that audio cue. And as it turns out, glockenspiels work really well for that.
Yeah.
Also, back when I did this, Toys R Us was still around. I just walked into a Toys R Us with a blindness cane and started tapping on glockenspiels till I found ones that I liked.
That must have been an interesting day for the employees. But that
Yeah,
just feels like such a cool intervention that could really work for anybody learning to use one of those for the first time.
no,
Yeah.
probably. I mean, you can see
Mhm.
even with my doing it, and unfortunately, the glockenspiels I picked up for that demonstration weren't nearly as good. I used to have like the bigger wheeled ones, and those were the ones that we used for teaching it here.
Mhm.
Um,
That is so cool.
yeah, I think that's probably the thing I'm most proud of because it's something that really I had to more or less come up myself. I did also like how we managed to teach him to count things,
Mhm.
um, recognize people by the sound of their voice. That had some interesting implications actually, because we figured out that uh, recordings did not generalize to people, but people did generalize to recordings.
That's really interesting. I wonder if that's a general effect because I
Yeah.
mean recordings do sound different. I've met some of my online friends in person and their voices sound different.
Mhm.
So people generalize to recordings, recordings don't generalize to people? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if you're just fundamentally losing some information in the recording. That would make sense.
Yeah. It could also be that like we didn't exactly have a high grade recording device set up, so
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, intention to treat keeps everyone in the analysis, even if they might not finish, where PP limits the data to people that actually follow the process to the end. Oh, no, that's interesting. Thank you for explaining. That's a really nice, concise, clear explanation. I super appreciate it, Rince Jester. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's hard to get stuff into that kind of like concise but clear form.
yeah, I don't know if you guys could see it during the talk, but
Oh,
I do
I
have a couple of the icons.
I saw you waving that around. Did you just find things that shape or did you cut them?
So that was actually my graduate assistant who basically went to a hobby store and bought a bunch of wooden icons and then we lacquered them.
Mm.
Um, so like it was my idea generally. So like the actual London Troa story that it's not story, but
Mhm.
study that we based it off of used formal similarity with what they were using for their icons and the items. I
Mhm.
didn't like that, especially because so many of his things would have just been wrappers of different kinds of candy and cookies. It's
Yeah.
like those are too similar in terms of property.
Mhm.
I went for ease of discrimination instead. So like these things are he could just scan them, he would feel them with his hands, and he would be able to pick the one he wanted.
Yeah. How did you pick which shape correspond to which thing? Was it just random or was there a process? It's a stupid question, but
Uh,
I'm curious.
it was mostly random. We did kind of want to make the ones that we thought he was going to ask for the most distinct,
Ah, that makes sense.
but it wasn't really. I mean, he was relatively new to us at the point because like we started this intervention probably within 2 weeks of him starting therapy because it was kind of a big part of what we're doing. Because like asking for things is kind of the fundamental um, uh, communication skill, and like there's evidence that with children with developmental disabilities that something like anywhere from 80 to 90% of problem behaviors are due to defective communication, that they're just not able to
Mhm.
communicate their wants and needs and get those needs met in their natural environment.
Ah, that makes sense. Oh, so is there a usual way to teach kids how to use their canes that the autism somehow interfered with? Or is there just not best practice?
So I did talk to the some of the blind services people about what they were doing and why. They couldn't answer the why question, so I didn't do what they did because I had reasons for doing what I did.
Mhm.
Um, I do think that maybe conventional blindness services is something of a that there may be issues with. Well, it's always been done this way,
Oh, yeah.
sort of coloring it. Although that might also just be that I was in a very rural area of of Louisiana, so there may have just been culturally there. Um, hard to say what it was. I mean, also some of these blind instructors were actively terrible and actually got in a fight with the parents.
Oh no.
Um, well, yeah, the parent called them out for not showing up and then billing anyway. Um, and then that blindness teacher was apparently refusing to serve the child because of that. So it's like
That
a
is
whole
screwed
mess
up.
of a thing.
That's awful. That
Oh,
is awful.
yeah. Yeah, there were all kinds of educational problems out there. Whenever I went to a meeting with the family and the school, we would have to have a post meeting where it's like, okay, here are the crimes they just committed. Please talk to your lawyer.
Oh my god.
Uh, yeah,
Do you get training in that sort of like legal stuff? Or is that something you pick up along the way?
read the packet. I
Ah!
read the legal packet. That is all I did.
More people should do that.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you've got to know what the rights are when you're in this field. There's a lot of not following the rules when you're because you don't have a right to an appropriate education. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act covers what the schools are supposed to do. Almost no schools follow it correctly.
Ooh,
I actually
that's
also had a beef with the school because they asked about intervening on body rocking for the blind kids with autism. And I was like,
Mhm.
have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and been unable to get back to sleep? You're not getting stimulation. It sucks. The odds are good that the body rocking is a compensatory thing for a lack of stimulation because he lacks an entire sense. And the body rocking does not hurt anything. We do not need to intervene on this. It is
Yeah.
not hurting anyone. It is not impeding him socially. It is not disrupting his learning. We are not going to change something for your convenience.
Oh, I like that.
It's like I also me at one point about shoe tying. Um, and I figured out a way to do it, but it was going to be really, really hard. And I was like, could we just wear Velcro? Like, really? Why does he need to have this? And thankfully, mom listened to me because, oh my god, I had come up with a way to do it by basically putting tactile markers on different parts of the shoelace.
Hmm.
But it was going to be so hard to teach.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, that sounds like a bit of a nightmare. Sounds like more of a you problem than something that's a
Oh
problem.
yes. Oh gosh, like that school had so much of a you problem. I mean,
Oh.
and then you get the problem of when you're like, you know, you're someone who has multiple rare disabilities, like they could not get the blindness services at any other school, so the mom
Mhm.
was kind of stuck there.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
sucks. And I feel like they're just, at least I know in higher education, we don't really receive any training on how to deal. We'll like get like, here's like what this student needs to succeed, but we never get taught details or like how to, like, I'm not saying they should be telling us what like the source of all this is, but like there really isn't that much training in education for how to deal with people that have different needs and different sort of like things like that. And it's very frustrating.
Mhm.
It's just really sad to hear that students are
Yeah, and
dealing with this.
then you get problems like the that you get assumptions, you get people being derogatory, you get people that assuming that they're just a bad kid, which always frustrates me. Like, look, I very much believe it is weird for a behavior analyst to be espousing a humanistic psychology perspective of unconditional positive regard. Like, behavior moves towards what works in the environment. The trick of what we're doing is that we're trying to make the appropriate behaviors work better in the environment and the inappropriate behaviors work less. So, like, in other words, you're not blaming the person, or as I like to put it in the words of the wise philosopher Ice-T, don't hate the player, hate the game. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's about changing the environment, and that's why so many of the problem behaviors are related to communication deficits. They've come up with ways to get those needs met by acting inappropriately, and then partially because their communication deficits prevent them from getting it appropriately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. The disability office truthfully doesn't have much training in what and why of accommodations. They're only really trained in most commonly occurring ones that tracks.
Mhm.
They're just
Yeah.
they need way more resources than they have. It's a problem. Oh, have you had to
I usually end
modify?
up just looking up the research.
Yeah, that's the smart way to do it. That's the good way to, and I
Like,
do love the meet the person where they're at. I think that's a
yeah,
very good mindset, and I hope that
yeah,
a lot of ABA specialists have a similar mindset.
yeah. Like,
Mhm.
while we have like a general idea what to do, everything is always individually tailored.
Mhm.
Like, even the two blind kids had stuff that was very different. Like, the little girl who I didn't talk as much because she didn't get as far into like the programming, she was very very bitey, like
Oh.
really really bitey, like way bitier than you, and you talk about biting people all the time.
In fairness, I haven't actually bitten anyone in a very long time, but
Yeah.
that could change at any minute.
Mhm. Yep.
Mhm.
I have been bitten 316 times on the job.
I always wondered if you have do you have like a tally list or something, or is it just like a mental account?
Mostly take, well, so I do have like tallies, but the tallies are tied to the individual patient. So the overall total number is just based on my keeping track.
That's fair.
um, yeah, incidentally, worst place to get bitten, the eye.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
the best place to get bitten is the scalp. Scalp doesn't hardly bothers anything.
Oh, my cat bites me on the scalp, and that hurts more than almost anywhere else.
The cat may have more like the sharp, pokey teeth.
Yeah, human teeth might not be quite the same as cat
Yeah,
teeth.
yeah,
Do you have to go to the
but yeah.
doctor when you get bitten by a person? Like if it breaks?
If I was supposed to, I didn't.
I feel like at least if it
I have
draws blood.
I have not turned into any of my patients by the light of the full moon, at least.
Oh dear. I am also kind of curious, like, if we could keep it objective as opposed to, like putting personal feelings into it, which I recognize is hard, but I am curious if you have had to modify some of your practices based on the current climate, or if because it sounds wait, I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll just put the question like that. And if you're not comfortable answering that, that's okay as well.
So like, have they had to modify to meet new restrictions
Yeah.
from the administration?
Mhm.
Uh, it's mostly just more difficulty in getting insurance approvals comes up because
Oh.
of that. I haven't had to change my interventions per se. I might have to justify them more.
Oh.
I have had to get. I actually had to get into a fight with the insurance with the blind kids at one point because they were saying that Braille was too academic.
What?
Uh,
What?
um, yeah, and I was like, hey, this is why it's not just that. Because they make this delineation in learning of what should be taught by school and what should be taught by therapy.
Uh-huh.
And they make a point of, nope, this is an educational goal. You are not allowed to work on it. It doesn't matter that you totally could work on it because learning is learning. They're not going to allow it. I also one time had them try to cut a kid's hours based on an actuarial table. And I had to go back and say, no, that is not how any of this works. I also did some research and found out that professionals responsible for making insurance approvals are still bound by ethics rules. And this was my kid who puts people in the hospital. So I was like, this is incredibly dangerous and will lead to severe injury and health issues. This kid has caused $70,000 in property damage. This is dropping these hours is dangerous. And I resubmitted it. I put the word severe tissue damage a few more times in bold capital letters in a few places in my treatment plan, sent it back again, was prepared to report the person to the board if they tried that actuarial table stuff again.
Oh my god, that's That is frustrating. Because, yeah, I was thinking the same as Rye, that, like, maybe it wouldn't affect clinical practice as much, but I didn't think about it from the angle of insurance, which clearly I should have.
Yeah, because most of it's
Mhm.
medical approval stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I do have to frame the like I have to justify everything I do, and they are making it more difficult.
Mm.
Um, then again, like one insurance company funded a study to try and just credit ABA as a discipline and claim that it's ineffective.
That should be illegal. I feel
Yeah,
like.
well, I mean, it's the health insurance for the military, which is run by the government, so it's probably not going to be illegal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and even in some areas, they're apparently not Medicaid is not currently covering ABA, which is it's also very short-sighted because the data shows that like ABA looks kind of bad on like an upfront spreadsheet sort of thing where you're looking at costs because it's a big upfront cost. Like a lot of kids would be billed about $100,000 a year in therapy. Um, but the evidence is that over the lifetime of someone with autism, particularly someone who is severe, the overall savings is something about around $2 to $4 million saved. The reasoning for that is that they don't need as much services across their lifetime because we've taught them independent living skills and taught them to like function and communicate.
That makes sense. Kind of reminds me of some cultural psychology stuff I learned about how different cultures view the body and view health. And I've heard that
Mhm.
American culture tends to treat the body more like a machine, where like when a problem crops up, like you replace the part or you service that specific part of the body. And it kind of feels like that. It's more like reactive than preventative kind of deal.
Mhm.
Hmm. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but you know we're still doing okay for right now. I'm managing to push through. Kids are still getting services and still progressing. Um, so it is a big concern for me that we might eventually have problems and I might be out of a job.
Ooh.
But for right now, it is still okay. That we're still covered. Um, I do sometimes have problems like if you want to talk about like current administration stuff is having to talk about like the whole no vaccines don't cause autism, no
Oh.
Tylenol does not cause autism.
Uh,
Ah,
oh my
no,
god.
I have a whole talk I give on that on what actually causes autism.
Oh.
Um, I didn't really bring that up for this one when we're talking about what to do here because I don't have data on it. It's kind of like a descriptive overview.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I mostly just talk about how to get autism treatment, what sort of things are out there, the documented causes versus the weird fake causes, the weird specific therapies like the dolphin therapy, or the horse therapy,
Mhm.
or the diets. Why Jenny McCarthy is one of my arch enemies.
Oh no.
For the record, my arch enemies are Jenny McCarthy, Jane Austen, and the Benedictine monks.
I love it. I love it. We should all keep a list of such things.
Would I transition to a private pay structure if insurance no longer covered? I mean, maybe. I also don't know what would happen because right now I work for a fairly big company.
Oh.
Um, although if the insurance stopped covering, they would probably end up laying me off and downsizing a great deal. Um, but private pay would be difficult just because of the amount. So like a lot of these kids are getting anywhere from 20 to 40 hours of therapy a week. So like ABA is way more intensive than most therapies. So private pay is difficult.
Ouch.
What I would probably have to do is do like a lot of caregiver training instead of training parents on how to deal with stuff.
Mm.
I don't particularly like that though, because that means more talking to adults, and I don't like doing that.
Well, isn't one of the things, so Rye said, is it similar to occupational and rehabilitation style therapy? Is it true that like some ABA is focused on that sort of thing specifically?
Not really. So like in terms of like rehabilitation, we'll sometimes teach like them to do things. But
Mm-hmm.
it's more about gaining the skill than about any physiological overcoming any physiological limitations.
Okay.
Um so like we're teaching like behaviors and sometimes we'll deal with like compliance issues. Like I've had a number of kids who just refuse to do the schoolwork. It's like, come on, dude. Look, okay, we're gonna try and come up with a way that everybody is happy here. So, like, what sort of compensation do you want in order to do your schoolwork? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna do it regardless. So we're going to sit here. Um, and then we work on that there. But in terms of like OT or occupational therapy or rehabilitation style therapy, that's not really in our direct work. I know I did consult with some people. Like I actually had consulted with the rehabilitation services people to figure out where to go with the blind kids because, like, hey, what would they need to have in order to get a job? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are the prereqs there? And then I worked my way up based on that, and that helped me pick out what things to work on.
Oh, that makes sense. In terms of how long sessions are. Oh, so like just the structure-y sort of.
Yeah, so like generally sessions are 3 to 8 hours, depending. A lot of times we'll even just be in school with the kid, working with them directly. Like we may be dealing with like, hey, behavior in school. I even went to a kid's birthday party one time for behavioral reasons, which was mostly just we had worked so hard to get him to, if he gets a birthday gift, not to tell the person that gave him the gift that he hated it. And I was so proud of him. He did not do that. He did suddenly put on creepy pasta videos on the TV for all the other kindergartners, and we had to put a stop to that. But none of the expected problems occurred. Like, no, please, the parents are going to get very upset if you show these kids like Slender Man or whatever it was. Um,
Oh, it sounds like something my
oh,
parents had to do with me. Like, no, you can't do that. You're gonna freak out the parents. They won't let their kids hang out with you.
yeah, yep. Oh gosh. Yeah, that kid was fun though because like, he is very straightforward. It's like I'm going to say a bunch of bad words and get sent home from school. Like yeah, and that's what he did. And I was like, please don't send him home from school.
You're
You are
reinforcing the
reinforcing that
behavior.
behavior. And I know he is rhythmically chanting swear words. Yes, could we just go to another room in the school until he's done? Bring his schoolwork. We'll wait.
Oh, yeah, it was
Oh yeah, well,
effective
that's
for
the
his
thing is behavior moves towards what works. So the goal is to change what works so that it's ultimately better for everyone in the long run.
I'm sorry, that's really funny. Like I've absolutely encountered students like that who do stuff like that before. It's very much like the path of least resistance, where I'm just gonna be it's smart. It's really
Yeah,
smart.
yeah. I
It's
mean, kids can find ways to meet goals and often be like very impressive in extreme ways. Like I had a kid with severe food selectivity who could pick out an individual grain of rice from food with his tongue.
oh my gosh, that's really impressive.
Yeah. Um, the blind kids could tell the difference between a Skittle and an M&M by touch, among a
Oh,
couple other things.
I guess the texture
Um,
is a bit different, actually,
yeah,
now
the
that I think
shape,
about
it's
it.
really the shape more than anything.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed the shape. Oh, that's
Yeah, well,
cool.
so like you might not notice it, but like Skittles are a little more ovoid, whereas an M&M is
Oh,
more circular.
yeah, now that you mention it, yeah. Oh, that's so interesting.
It's weird because of this work with the blind kids. I end up with some slightly different things for most people. Like most braille that you find in public is not capitalized properly,
What?
and I'm probably the only person noticing this. And it's like,
I did not know
no,
that Braille had capital letters.
yeah. Well, what it is you put there's a marker that gets put in front of the letters that either indicates initial capital or all the letters in the word are capitalized.
Oh.
Um, and most of the time they do not put that marker, and I'm like, shame, 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 shame.
Oh
Not
my
that,
god.
not that anybody notices, and I don't know if anyone would really care, but
Yeah,
you're doing it wrong, and it bothers me.
that's really interesting to know. That's really cool. Oh, it's so fun, like all the stuff that you pick up along the side.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like knowing a lot of stuff about dinosaurs, or oh gosh, I one time ended up explaining physics to a kid because he kept asking me questions, and I'm like, okay, so this is what it means to. What does it mean to be 2D? Well, it means you only have two dimensions. Like, how many dimensions are there? I'm like, I don't remember. I think the guess was like 14 or something. Or like the one kid would always be asking me questions. We like talked about like the life cycle of the anglerfish, and he absolutely loved that because like admittedly the anglerfish is a really weird animal.
Mhm. Oh, that's so fun.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah, it's I love working with my kids. I have a lot of fun. I always claim I have not really matured any since I was 8. This is why I want to stay working with the kids. Than adult stuff. Yeah, I got my teddy bear. Got my teddy bear right here.
Aw. Oh, I don't have any.
I
Oh,
actually had him by my computer since COVID because we did full telehealth um, therapy. And wow, breaking out the teddy bear really shows how far the delay is on the stream versus when I have. Because yeah, the teddy bear is still not on the stream yet.
yeah. I was so ready to pull up the stuffed animal that I have next to me right now, and then I realized I can't show it
Yeah,
to all of you.
yeah.
I think.
Okay, so there we go. That teddy bear just appeared.
Oh
So
my gosh, that is a very long
you did
delay.
not realize how long the delay was.
That is.
Oh, that is actually something I wanted to mention about how much I enjoyed doing this because my favorite movie as a kid was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So right now I'm getting to talk to a cartoon character, and that is super cool to me.
I think it's really fun to have the contrast between the live action and cartoony. I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying it
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I don't know if I'd had a VTuber, I would have done it. I was like, no way, I was going to get something like that set up on short notice.
Uh,
Um, plus, plus,
oh,
plus, plus, I feel like the my current room is not very good for it. I bet.
I don't know. I think it's
I'm
probably
actually also
fine.
curious if glasses are a problem for all that motion tracking stuff in my big old glasses.
Oh, it might be. I have heard that's an issue, but I know that one of my a VTuber that I know did a whole video specifically on how to get good tracking with glasses. It's possible.
Ah,
Oh yeah, and
oh, you
Ryan,
got
you
the
use a model too, right?
yeah, you've got the big old glasses. See,
Mhm.
I don't like being able to see the edge of my glasses, so I always get the big ones.
Oh yeah, that would drive me bonkers. PNG too. Normally I was gonna ask like last time with Dr. Lesh. Oh, I guess he's not a doctor yet. With Connor Leschner, I did ask about like drawing something, and I was gonna ask you, and then I think it just slipped my mind. Oh, but then you said also that you wanted webcam so that you could like show stuff and so. But
Yeah, mostly if you notice, I flail my arms about like crazy when I'm presenting, and I think it's an important part of the style. So like doing like a PNG, I think would miss out on a lot of that.
I really agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
Though
Yeah.
if you do want to come on again sometime, I can whip up a PNG for you. Though I do
I
think
mean,
we
I
would be
have
missing
I have
out.
all sorts of stuff I can talk about. So
Oh, that would be awesome. I'd love to have you on again sometime. But I think I've actually already kept you longer than I said I would.
I mean, we're having fun.
It's
I
true.
did not. It's Saturday. I don't really. I mean, I'm getting together. I'm getting together with some folks to maybe go play Magic for a bit, but I'm in no real hurry. As a matter of fact, honestly, I may end up missing that anyway because I think they're only going to like 5 or 6.
Oh
So,
gosh. I
so
actually
yeah,
do have
I might
something.
just put the kibosh on that. I'm fun. I'm having fun here. So,
Oh, I'm having fun too. Unfortunately, I did, and I have like a thing that I need to go to this afternoon, so I probably should duck out soon because I need
all
to
right.
dress nice, and I
Oh,
don't know how to do that, so it's gonna take me.
yeah. Oh yeah. I know. I debated what to wear, and I just was like, I have mad science shirts, so I have my
Oh, fools! I will
Oh, this is
destroy.
so awkward because I have to wait a couple seconds from when I.
I love that. Ask me how, but it's pretty
Yeah, it's
good.
an important part of it. Fools, I'll destroy you all. Ask me how.
How?
I never said I would tell you.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Can't tell me the plan, or else who knows? I might be able
I just
to
want to
slip
be asked.
just so you can. There is a bit of a thrill in saying, "I'm not going to tell you."
Yeah, I couldn't find my other one, which was science. I'm one accident away from being a supervillain.
Oh no.
There are not enough mad social scientists.
I agree. But it's probably safer that way. We don't want to open that Pandora's box.
Yeah. Now that said, as a behavior analyst, I feel like I qualify as a mad scientist because B.F. Skinner did train pigeons to pilot missiles.
This is true. For those of you who don't know, that is a true story.
Yes, this is in fact true. They were actually very good at it too, but ultimately the military kind of considered it a bit silly.
Yeah, and I imagine the cost of training was probably pretty high, and well, some small part of me wants to believe that people got attached to the pigeons and were like, no, we can't. But anyway. Oh, behaviors are perfect mad scientists. Yep, agree. They oh.
I mean, really, you get advertising exists because of behaviorists being kicked out of academia.
Yeah. Yeah, causing so many troubles, getting up to so much,
Mm-hmm.
using your powers for evil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not you specifically. Poor baby Albert. Yeah, poor baby
That is, in
Albert.
fact, the exact person that invented advertising, actually, or modern advertising. The Watson, I believe, was one who both did Little Albert and then got kicked out of academia for fraternizing with a grad student, and the whole "they live" alien thing, mad social science. I mean, it's kind of more like subliminal stuff. And then the magic sunglasses. Or wait, am I getting the? That's the.
That's the first thing that
Am I getting the
pops
right
up.
thing? They live as the thing with the sunglasses, right? And being able to see like the hidden messages and all the aliens.
Discovers that the ruling class are camouflaged aliens, which drives him on a quest to expose them to the world.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never heard of this before. I feel like I should have.
It's a sci-fi classic. I do recommend it.
I'll see if I can find it somewhere.
It's most known for the probably the line, "I'm here to kick butt and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum."
Oh, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
and it does have Roddy Piper in it.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say it's a classic movie. I actually watched it in a science fiction film class in undergraduate.
Oh, that's fun. I love those classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, incidentally, the BA that I have is in English creative writing, so it's not my one non-psychology degree.
Oh no, that's cool. That's a lot of fun. And I bet you're still carrying that like training in. I was watching Fi's stream earlier before this started, and he was talking about how like you have to practice creativity and stuff like that. And that probably yeah. Even if that might not be the. Mm-hmm.
I had one patient who wanted to make her own cartoon show, and we ended up writing up stuff based on that. Like she basically it was almost going to be kind of like Pokemon or Yokai Watch in some ways. I tried to convince her to name like the shadow monster thing she made. I tried to convince her to name it Jennifer, but she didn't want to name it Jennifer. It would have worked because I found that like one of the definitions of Jennifer had to do with darkness, even though it's a common name. I was like, this would work on so many levels.
That's so cool.
I was like, no. Not like you can't have your evil mastermind monster be named Jennifer.
Yeah, that doesn't quite hit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like the irony, so it works for me, but it didn't work for her.
That's fair. Though that does give another movie I haven't seen, but Jennifer's Body. That sounds like maybe an extra layer that I never considered.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I should get going, but thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. That was a really cool presentation. Oh, I probably have time for one more question. What is something you know now that you wish you knew at the start of your career? Yeah, let's do one more.
Let's see. What's something I know now that I wish I knew at the start of my career? Um, that I am terrible at running a business and should not be doing a private practice.
Good thing to figure out early, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I ended up with the private practice because the blind patients were originally a clinic that I did affiliate with someone else, and that clinic closed down. So I did a private practice so the kids would keep services because it's a rural area. There's no other providers. Um, I literally do not care about money, so I am terrible at running a business because of that. Um, so like, I don't regret it. I didn't make any money, and I mostly lived off the Pizza Hut big dinner box for 2 years. But the kids made notable progress, and it wasn't so bad financially that it hurt me in the long run or anything.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. There's a reason accountants are their own separate thing. Yeah. Ah. But anyway, thank you again so much. It was so much fun. It was so interesting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd love to have you on again sometime in the future. But for now,
Thank you for having me, and as always, thank you for insulating and protecting our nerve sheath.
I can't claim credit for that, but I will take the thank you and pass it on to my namesake.
Oh, you got to talk to the other Mylans.
Yep, I'll go talk to the other Mylans. I don't know if they'll understand me, but I'll do my best. Any last words for everybody out there?
That's not really a word. That's more onomatopoeia, but.
Yeah.
Well, have the teddy wait. Bye.
Aww. Take
This
care.
teddy is probably older than all of the viewers.
Everybody's got to have that one stuffed animal that we've had for an incredibly long time.
Yep, he is about as old as me.
Aww.
So he is probably 43 or 44 years old.
Oh, he's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for dropping in. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, okay. Oh, I actually got somebody older than me.
Good work, Data
Older
Fox.
than my teddy bear. That doesn't happen super often.
Yeah, pretty rare.
Because I think in Cider A's community there's only one.
Yeah, I think I know exactly who that is. But anyway, take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Hello.